Hi friends, Miss Ella here from Learn to Grow. I hope that you guys are enjoying your day. Today I'm going to show you how simple it is to start new plants or herb plants from cuttings. I went out in the garden a few weeks ago and I went ahead and took some sprigs of oregano, mint, lemon balm, and you know what? I had pho about, I think it's like 6 weeks ago now, and usually when you have pho they put the Thai basil. You can add them to your soup. So I saved these sprigs and I think these have been here for a little too long, about 6 weeks now, but look at all those roots. So now I can have my own Thai basil plants. I didn't have to buy them since they came with the food I ordered. Here's another one here. So you can pretty much do this with any other herb or herb plants that you have. Here's the oregano. The oregano's been in the cup for about, I think, almost 2.5 weeks. Once these tiny roots, if you can see that, reach about 1/4 of an inch to 1/2 inch, they're ready to be planted in the pot or in the ground. Preferably I might start them in the pots first, and as they grow I'll put them in the ground later on. All this have been in the cups for about 6 to 8 weeks, some of them. I've been so busy, so I just haven't had time to get them in pots yet. As you can see, all these roots there. Now, one thing when you're selecting your sprigs to root is you want to make sure that you're picking them from plants outdoors. That way they're not leggy and they're more sturdy. The reason why is when you plant them in the pot, you want them to be able to stand up so they're, bend back and forth. So this is a pretty sturdy sprig of oregano here. And when you plant them, you only bury them just right above, a little bit above the root. So you don't want to bury the whole stem in the pot or in dirt because the stem can rot. Here's another more. This is spring onions. These were store-bought. I think it's been about 2 months since I've had these. I think I'm gonna toss them now. Look at those roots, but I've been regrowing them for the leaves itself because I use them for cooking. So I think I gotta use out of this, and I think this is starting to die back. But you want to make sure you change the water that you have these sprigs in every day or every other day. If you don't, bacteria might grow in there and it'll start having this foul smell. So you want to make sure at least change your water every other day. And they don't need direct sunlight. I put them in these cups, so you don't have to have a glass or transparent cups. It's better for the roots to grow if they're not exposed to light. So now I'm gonna go ahead and plant these or transplant some of these in a couple of containers, and I'll show you how I do that. So before I pot up those cuttings, I just want to go over a couple of things when choosing the stems for rooting. So for instance, you want to take the stems on the outer side of the plant, not the ones in the middle. The middle stems tend to be newer, so they're not going to be as firm. The ones on the sides, they tend to be more sturdy and not leggy. Same thing with this oregano plant. As you can see, there's the new stems growing, so these are pretty delicate. And the ones in the outer part of the plant are thicker, which are more likely to root. Okay, I'm back up here. So when you're choosing your stem for cuttings, make sure that, again, you take it from the outer part of the plant, and also that it does not have any diseases. I've noticed some of my spearmint plants in the front has some white powdery mildew or some white fungus on the leaves. So you want to make sure that they don't have any spots on them, yellow or black mold spores. So you want to make sure that your plant is healthy. Now, you don't necessarily have to have a long stem like this one. You can actually cut it shorter. So we'll just go ahead and do that. Take off the lower leaves. Oh, and you know what? One thing I forgot to mention is you want to cut the bottom of your stem in a 45-degree angle. Just like so, if you can see that. Now this is ready to go into the water, or you can actually plant it directly into like a soilless mixture, maybe some peat moss to root it, though you will have to keep it moist at all times to stimulate the root growth. I've always propagated my herb cuttings into the water and it works fine for me, but either way works. Now, not all of the stems that you cut will root. For example, these 2 oregano stems that I try to root. Only one of them ended up rooting. It's been there for about 2.5 weeks. So doesn't always root, but you know, you have a high percentage, you know, up to 90% chance that they will. So you might want to root about, you know, between 2 or 3 stems at a time in case they don't all root. So I'm going to put this aside. I'm going to go ahead and plant the oregano in this clay pot here. Move the camera so you can see. Again, I think I cut this one a little too long, so I'm only going to bury it about maybe to this part of the stem, so about 2.5 inches above the roots, and I think we should be okay because I wanted to make sure that it holds up the plant. So I've got this store-bought potting mix, so any store-bought potting mix will work. So just place your cutting in there, press it gently around, and give it some water. Now you want to make sure you keep this in the shade out of direct sunlight. You kind of want to harden them off during the next few days. Part shade would be okay. That way your plant does not go into shock. So there we have it. That's how simple it is to propagate your herb from cuttings. It'll save you money in the long run. Also, they make great gifts. In fact, I'm going to give this to one of my good friends. She wants to start her own herb garden in her backyard. Thank you so much for joining me here at Learn to Grow. I hope that you guys have a wonderful weekend and happy gardening.